Hello. Hello. Hi there. Thought I'd pop on here and give you a thought of the day. Today is it's January the 7th, and like I've committed to do, I'm going to video every day, document something every day. Even if I don't have something deep, I'm going to have something that is just on my mind. And the reason I do this is because I want to prove to everybody that you can always hear direction in your life. All you have to do is pay attention to what's going on around you. So I thought I would just take the everyday things that happen in my life and as an example on how I do this. That way it can be an example for you to know how to hear the voice of God, the voice of the universe, the direction on the inside of you that is trying to lead you, guide you, and direct you. And for me, that's the direction of the Holy Spirit. And so today, I posted a little earlier, and here's what I would like to talk about. I'd like to talk about me taking my children to the dentist. Two of the kids, Evan and Layla, they went to the dentist today, and they had appointments back to back, and one of the things they did was, just like on most dental procedures, they start with giving you a shot. They do that little numbing thing, that little cream that numbs just the topical area, just that top area, and then they say, this is going to sting for just a moment, for just a second. This is going to sting, and the thought was this, if that medicine wasn't given, then what would happen is the rest of the procedure would be horrifying, like just gruesome. I can't even imagine getting dental work without being numbed up. And we don't like the numb because we're like, you know what I'm saying? I don't like that. But also, I know this. If I don't allow them to go in and sting me for a moment with that needle, that if I don't take that impact, then the rest of the thing is going to be intolerable. And so my thought in that was this. My thought is that most of the time when we are going into a recovery process, when we're going into a process that is going to help us reestablish things that were lost, health that was lost, things that were once good, but now they're no good anymore. And that speaks of a lot of areas in our lives. It can speak of financial areas. It can speak of relational areas. It can speak of emotional areas. It can speak of physical health areas, all kinds of areas that it can speak of that were once in a healthy, stable condition, but over time, just like a cavity sets in, over time, because of poor management or because of time has gone by and things deteriorate over time, if not really worked hard to keep that thing right, because these bodies, let's just face it, these bodies, they don't get better as they go. You know, initially they do. Yes, we're an infant child, we grow older, and then we start to grow into our bodies, and puberty hits, and we're like, oh, we don't know how to talk, we don't know how to walk, we got adult parts coming out of little junior bodies, and we're like, what do I do with this? And pimples are all over the place, and hormones are all over the place, and all this is going on, and so we get better and better and better, and then we get to a point where we're like, yeah, this is really good. And then all of a sudden we get a pain. We're like, what is that? I shouldn't have these kind of pains. I'm just in my upper 20s. And then, well, I guess that is close to 30. And then I'm in my 30s. And hey, wait a minute. How come I used to be able to eat everything and it didn't affect my weight at all? And now I eat one thing and I'm like that. What is it? My metabolism isn't getting better over time. So the truth is that these bodies, they don't tend to fix themselves. We got to work harder and harder as we go on. Maybe your experience is different, but I'm just talking for myself and probably the majority of everybody else watching and on planet Earth, is that over time there becomes a certain point where things to begin to deteriorate faster and easier. And at those moments when we see it's gotten to a place where I've got this unhealthy thing that needs to be dealt with, and that's the condition that my kids, you know, just like all of us going to the dentist and we have to get cavities checked. And so one thing they were going to do is they were going to drill it and fill it. You know, they're gonna take out the cavity and put that filler in there. And they told both of the children, both of them, they had to get a shot up front. And that shot, that initial thing, now remember at the beginning of this, that thing is going to help numb you for the rest of the procedure. The rest of the procedure is way worse than this shot. But this shot, I just as a shot hater, I don't like shots. Shot. I don't like shots. I don't like shots. Shots have never been kind to me. They always hurt me, and I don't like it. Why? I've earned the right to say that. I'm type 1 diabetic. I've had over 3 shots a day since the time I was 4 years old. That's at minimum. At minimum, I've had over 48,000 shots in my lifetime. I don't like shots. So don't say, oh, you're a big baby. What about all those tattoos? Tattoos, friends, listen, tattoos are laid on the 3rd layer of your skin. It's a scrape. We got 7 layers of skin. Tattoos are just, and they're scrapes. They don't feel good, but it's not a needle going into your soul like a shot. Anyway, so they give you a shot in the most, the only place I could see worse getting a shot is in my eyeball. I don't want a shot there, but I certainly don't want to. And they go in there and they stick, and they said, this is going to sting just from it. Now that, as much as I hate that, I've had enough dental work to know this, as much as I hate that, and they try to keep you from seeing it, but I'm like, oh no, and I see it, and then there's that big metal thing, it's like a torture, it looks like a torture mechanism that they use on like Mission Impossible, and they get in there, and they okay, and then, and they just pop through, and you can feel it pop through, you can hear it pop through, and you can see the legs, kind of tense up, and that happened. Now, as much as I hate shots, what I know is that sting is going to sting just for a minute. That sting, that initial discomfort, that initial offense is there to help me through the rest of the procedure. What can I take from that? I can take this. I can take that there are certain times in life when I am unhealthy, when I become unhealthy in areas, and someone calls it out. Someone gives me an initial sting. I don't like what they're saying. I don't appreciate what they're saying, but what they're saying is truth, and it's breaking through the barrier, and it's enabling me to realize, you know what? There's some more work to be done. That initial sting, that first thing that happens, it may feel like they're doing something bad to you, but in reality, it could be they're helping set you up to be able to sustain, to be able to go through the process, to walk through the rest of the process, because the rest of the process may be even more painful, but if we do the things up front, if we'll embrace the thing up front, then the process may be easier along the way, because when that sting wasn't just to sting you, but it was actually to put medication in you to numb. I don't know if you know this, but the reason I do comedy is to help people numb from the pain. There's a passage that says this, that laughter does good like a medicine. And that's the whole purpose of me going into comedy, is because what I see myself is someone who gives out medication. Now, here's what I know. I said I was a type 1 diabetic. I take medicine every day. That medicine is called insulin. I'm an insulin-dependent type 1 diabetic. That insulin, it goes into my system, and it's a medication. But it doesn't cure the ailment. Medicine doesn't cure you from what you have. Medicine just treats what it is that the symptom is. And medicine, so you can take an Excedrin, you can take an ibuprofen, and what it'll do is it'll help numb you from the pain that you're having right then. But it doesn't take the cause. It doesn't take the root away, but it does give you a moment to be numb. I've went through a quadruple bypass heart surgery right there, and they cut me open right there. Before they cut me open, they put medicine in me to numb me. Why? Because had I gone through that procedure without being numb, it would have been too much for my system to handle. And that's the reason I do comedy, is not to fix all of the issues that the people have, but to help numb them for a moment, so that way the great physician can get in there and work on the heart. Does that make sense? And we all need that numbing. That's really the root of what happens when we become addicted to stuff, is that we try to numb ourselves. We try to medicate ourselves. And so what's happening in this is that the initial thing is being done, is causing a pain for a moment, but it is releasing something that's going to help you sustain through the rest of the process. If someone is speaking into your life right now and it doesn't feel comfortable because they're pointing out harsh things, listen to me, that harsh thing may be the thing that causes you to survive through the rest. It is the initial sting, when I went through my heart surgery, there was one doctor who spoke up before he put me on the stress test. And he said, I can't put you on this stress test because if I put you on there, you may die today. Everyone else before that said, no, you're too young, you're healthy, you're in shape, you eat right, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get up there, everything's going to be fine. This guy highly offended me by saying this, you know what? You are probably in no condition to do this and you may die. You're probably so unhealthy that you may die. I got offended. I got upset at that doctor, but that doctor was the one that was this may sting for a moment doctor in my life, because he set me up to walk through the process. He set me up to be able to step back and realize, there's way more that's going on. And I ended up, had I not listened to that doctor, had that doctor not been there for that moment to sting me and offend me, then I would be dead within that week. And I believe that maybe someone has put in your life, in this time of your life, that maybe is speaking something, that is identifying something, that's noticing something that's unhealthy in you, and they may sting for a moment in their comments, but you need to be aware. You need to be listening. You need to be it's one thing when people try to criticize you to destroy you, but it's another thing when they criticize you to help you. And even when they do criticize you to destroy you, because I've got haters that message and talk about me and things like that. The thing is, always pay attention to what they're saying, because what they're saying, it may be for a bad purpose, but the truth is the truth, even when spoken by a liar, is what I've found. And so I don't have to like the person saying it, but I do need to listen to the content, because perhaps there's a little bit of truth in that content, and maybe I can grow from that. Even if their motive is bad, even if their motive is evil, maybe I can grow because of something that they're saying. Maybe it's easier. They're looking for the weaknesses, but that doesn't mean what they're saying is weak is actually strong. It could mean that, they identify something. And so maybe someone's speaking something about you, something to you, and you just need to pay attention. Listen, because this could be the thing that helps set you up for walking through, for going through. The rest of the process is hard, but had this initial sting not happen and brought it to the light, had this initial thing not happen, and someone says this, someone does, had that not happen, then we wouldn't be able to walk through the process. Why? Because there's something called grace, and God never puts us in a position, allows us to go through a position without having a grace on us to go through that position. That God will be there, but whether or not we rely on Him to give us the medication to sustain us through, now that's on our part. Because a lot of people say, I can't, it was too much, and I gave up, it was too much. I understand. Life, listen, death was something we never were supposed to experience. Adam and Eve, they were never supposed to die. They fell in the garden, big theological discussion there. But what happens is now we feel this sense of grief when people die. Why? Because we were never set up to have to go through something like that. We were never set up to have to go through certain experiences in life. But because we are now in a time where that exists, we have to rely on what God's answer to that was, and that is a dispensation of grace. The feathers that line the nest of thorns for the little eaglets to sit in. When those things hatch, those feathers are there, and the little birds, they can relax. Why? Because it feels soft, but it's not actually soft. What's happening under there is a bunch of sticks and a bunch of thorns, and that is the dispensation of grace that we walk in right now. You have to rely on something that gives you that grace, that gives you that padding. And the initial thing is the first thing, embrace where you are. Admit to yourself, identify, this is my issue, this is my problem, and I really have this. This is really going on in my life. This is really part of my life, and I'm tired of it just being unhealthy and this cavity going down to the root, and then I become more and more sensitive, and I act out in ways. I get offended more easy. I get rubbed the wrong way more easy. I'm grumpier all the time. I'm just contorted in all that stuff It's because we are letting things get down and the cavity is going down to the root, and the root is being exposed and it's being sensitive. We're being oversensitive to everything. So it's time to get worked on. My friends, it's time to get worked on. Now, I know I'm saying this, and it could be for you that you have everything together and perfect in life. Rock on. Be an encouragement to everybody else who's in the season of their life where it's like, things are not good right now in my life. That's your role in this. You're not having a problem right now. Doesn't mean you're not there. You have to stay focused so that way people can attach themselves to you and your strength. When others are weak, if we're strong in that area, strong in that moment, we're the ones helping them. How do I know if I'm supposed to help somebody? You just assume that you are. Just assume that you are. Don't, well, I'm going to pray about it, and if God sends an angel and a prophet and blah, 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 blah. Now, shut up. Listen, if you're in the position to help, assume you're the one that's there to help, okay? So, that's it. That's what I wanted to share. That's what I got out of today's experience at the dentist, is that things may sting for a moment, but if they didn't sting in that moment, it would be way worse going through the process. And so be open to the sting, because the sting may help you with the rest of the process. Okay, that's it. Feel free. I'm going to post this later on YouTube because I'm trying to build that. Hey, Athens, Texas. I'm trying to build the YouTube page up. So I need subscribers. I need likers. I need all those things to comment on there. And it helps get the algorithm and all that stuff like that. Why does that matter? Because I'm here to make a splash with the rest of my life. And I'm not going to make a splash if I'm just quiet and my people are quiet. So let's make some noise. All right, rock on. I love you guys. See you. Bye.